Hey, folks, welcome to the 22nd episode of the Knock&Talk show. I, of course, am your host, Patrick Faulkner, and our guest today is Stephen Kuhn. He's a U.S. Army veteran, a serial entrepreneur, author, former guest VJ on MTv, and the creator of the first digital NFT for veterans. In this episode, we're going to be discussing his time in and out of the Army, as well as his time as a bouncer in Germany, some of the scuffles he got into there, and how to learn more and get involved in the mission surrounding the H.A.V.E NFT. To learn more, stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 22nd episode of the Knock&Talk show. I, of course, am your host, Patrick Faulkner, and today our guest is Stephen Kuhn, a new friend of mine, military veteran, and currently stationed living overseas near the hot zone. And he also has a really cool new NFT that this audience is going to be really interested in learning more about. So before I get into anything over my head, Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, brother. Honored to be here.
So, first off, tell us a little bit about who you are and where you are,
right,
and how you got there.
Yes, forward operating base. No, I'm just kidding. Well, you know, I left for the military from Pennsylvania back in 1986. And I was stationed in Fort Knox, and I went to Germany for 7 years. In those 7 years, I ended up going to Iraq for Desert Storm, came back, stayed in for another year, and got out. But I got a European out and stayed in Europe. And so I stayed in Germany where I was stationed. And I started a life there, got married, opened 3 cocktail bars, a nightclub, some other businesses, and just really had a good time. Like, really had a good time.
Yeah.
Until it all crashed and burned in 2002. Wife left, business ended, and the corporate business that I was in as well ended, and I lost my money in a bad investment, all in a week.
Oh,
so
wow.
I said, maybe it's time to write a book. So I wrote a book, and no shit, it was about the first Gulf War and how it was as a guy who was gung ho going in, but not gung ho going out, and the thoughts behind all that. And so that book came out the day the war started in 2003 in Iraq. So it was an immediate bestseller, like literally overnight. Before it was even printed, before it was even published, it was a bestseller. Like, people had pre-ordered it. And so I was on TV for a year. And that's sort of made me TV famous in Germany. And I was like doing news anchor stuff and MTv VJ on country music, German, MTV, and just crazy stuff. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. A guest VJ, we have the American War veteran, Yeah. And then I kept getting repeat invites. Anyway, so over that time, I rebuilt my life, did it again. Had 8 years of ups and downs and this and that and the others. And then I was at a good point. And then in 2008, everyone knows what happened. Some of my business was tied to what happened. Lost everything again, became homeless in Berlin, Germany. In the between time, those 8 years in between, I lived in Spain, Portugal, Austria, Switzerland, UK, Poland, and then Hungary came after that. But yeah, because I was jumping around. I was a turnaround business consultant. So I would just go to the place where I was supposed to work and just turn the business around. And then I would go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. I'd stay there for like 6 months to, a year or something like that. And so I got to travel a lot, but it was, I was alone the whole time. Anyway, 2008, lost everything. Crazy. Had to rent my apartment out to somebody else, slept in my car, which was a smart car, by the way, because I sold my BMW. Smart car was broke. And one day.
So that was a smart move? Wait, I have a button for that. Thank you, folks. I'm here.
There we go. And then, make a long story short, I was in a traffic stop. I got caught speeding like 130 zone. It was just in an argument with a girl, and they pulled me over, and I just lost it. And I grabbed the gun from the police officer and was going to shoot myself. And the police officer who I grabbed it from was a young trainee female. And everyone froze when I did that. And she just literally, calm as could be, standing beside me, turned like this, put her hand on top of mine, and just put it back in her holster. And she said, "Steven, this isn't you. I know you." I was like shocked. She shocked me more than a cop punching me in the face with a gun. You know what I mean? That was so much of a shock. I was like, "What do you mean you know me? What? Like that." It just shocked me. So they took my license, my car, didn't press charges. Believe it or not, German police are very social. I think like 2% have drawn their weapon in the last 35 years. I went back to my apartment, which wasn't my apartment because I was renting it out. And I told the guy, I'm like, Steve, his name was Steve too. I said, "Dude, I need the apartment for like an hour, please." So he left because my stuff was still in the back of the closet. And I pulled out my uniform, hung it up, pulled out my picture of me in the military, stuck it there, pulled out the K-bar, right, from the Marines that I had on a plaque with my name engraved in the blade, and put it to my neck. And just as I was about ready to slice, there was a banging on the door, and I was like, can't even kill myself. Like, talk about a loser. Like, you can't even do that. You know what I mean? That's how
I don't know if I'm supposed to be laughing at this.
I have to laugh, right? So then I end up, I go to the door, and it's this female cop again. She followed me home. And she took my hand. She said, "Can I come in?" I said, "Yeah." She took my hand, put the knife down, led me into my own living room, and said, "You're an amazing man. I was at one of your readings. I read your book, right? You're an amazing man. You're going to change the world. This isn't you." And then she got up, gave me this kiss, and walked out the door. And I was like, "Was that an angel? What the hell was that? What, my God." And like, what happened? But I knew I wasn't out of the fire zone yet. So I called my buddy Michael in Austria, and I said, "Dude, if you don't come get me tonight, I'm not going to be here tomorrow." I just know it. The knife was still there. Everything was still ready. And he sent me a plane ticket, email per e-ticket, and I flew to Austria like a couple hours later, and or the next day maybe. And he picked me up and put me into a Benedictine monastery in the mountains of Austria and said, "See you later." So I didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, he took my phone and my laptop. I had no way of contacting anyone. I didn't know, no idea. No one knew where I was. I was just gone. Yeah. And it was awesome. It was awesome, man.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine what that would have, the journey to get there. Yes, that was divine intervention. God is good all the time. So he wasn't done with you yet. He still had plans for you. And that female officer was certainly the angel he sent to ensure that. But I can't imagine what that plane ride was like for you to get to there, and then just to be, dropped off at basically an adult orphanage.
What the? I never even thought of it like that. Holy shit!
What, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, however long later, Steven has been more or less, for lack of better terms, reborn and building it back up again. That's an amazing story.
I was there for a good 8 months.
Wow.
And
so what was a day in the life
of a monk
there at the monastery?
Well, you had choices. You could either pay, and Michael paid for me. It was like 15 euros a day for room and board, 3 squares a day.
Okay.
And you could work in the garden and work that off if you wanted, because they have like herbal gardens where they make schnapps. And they sell it. They sell it to the, because they're Benedictines. They love to drink. And
good
but
for
they
them.
also meditate.
Scotch
they also
juice.
meditate, and they chant and they pray. So it was really exciting. So we get up at about 5:30, walk over to the Knights Chapel, which was built in the year 900 something, and that was inside of the connected. They built a church basically around it. So you go in this little chapel and it's rounded ceilings, and then you'd have the monks. Not all of them. There was 80 monks. You never saw them all at one time. because each monk has a parish somewhere in the mountains and a little church. So they always travel back and forth. So up at the front on the pew, there's like lines of pews facing inward. And they would stand up there in the mornings at 5:45 and they would chant, sometimes French, sometimes Latin, sometimes English, sometimes German. It just depends. And it was the vibrations that of their voice, like that, coming through around that round ceiling down into the seats of where we were sitting. It would just vibrate through your whole body. And you felt the presence, you know?
Wow.
And you do that every morning, my brother. You are divine. You're just like, then you go to breakfast. Then you go to mass. So what do you want to call it? You go to the big church, right? The cathedral type church, which is in the same place, just right next, like in the courtyard. And then they have a proper sort of normal, sort of prayer and service and all that kind of stuff. And then you're done. That's it. Like, that's all I had to do. But they had a Roman garden across the street. Beautiful, the gardens with the bushes that are swirly and the fountains and all this,
Right.
And they had 8 different meditation spots in that garden. And you could just go and sit there and meditate. And by the time I was leaving there, I was meditating 8 or 9 hours a day. Didn't even realize it. I would close my eyes and open them up, be like 8 hours, like, dang, what the heck? Because I had 0 distractions. Wow. I had no cell phone. I had no laptop. I had no need to talk to anybody. It was incredible. But you know what? Shocked me the most, but gave me clarity to this day, is that when I went back to Berlin, I see my friends and stuff. Like, hey, Steve, how's it going? I'm looking at him like, you didn't realize I was gone for 8 months? We're like, really? What?
8 months?
Yeah. And it was like, nobody. Very few people even realized it. So I thought, wow, man, I have all these businesses, been on TV, best-selling author, all this kind of stuff. Everyone knew who I was, and no one even noticed. So I'll never base anything on what I have or a title or anything ever again, because it means nothing. It was a big waste of time, right? For me, of course, I learned through that, so that was great. But I look back and I go, I wasn't as important as I thought I was, or influential, or impactful, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's when I started saying, it only matters what I can do in my world to impact change. And if that's me talking to you right now, creating some radiant value that you can then pass on through your podcast, then that's what I do, right? People talk to me all the time like, yeah, you got to go out and fight. You got to change the world, global warming, da-da-da-da. And I go, okay, global warming. Do you recycle? Well, no, they don't do that. And I'm like, well, then start recycling and then come talk to me about global warming. Or do you turn the water off between soaping up and, showering off? Well, no. Well, start doing that and then come talk to me about global warming. It's like, you have to have impact in your world first, create that ripple effect, that radiant value that's going to spread out to every person after you. Instead of jumping forward, trying to go to the big demonstrations and waving flags and stuff and getting violent. That's not going to change nothing, in my opinion. No. So that's sort of what I got out of that. And I got a lot more out of that, but it was an incredible time. It changed my life forever. It's a source of strength for me. I actually went back there with my 6 and 7-year-old in December and brought them to the monastery and met 2 of the monks that I spent time with, 14 years later. It was amazing. Yeah, wow. It's only 3 hours. It's only 3 hours from where I live here.
What did they think?
The monks?
No, the children.
They were mesmerized.
I can't. Yeah,
they were, because I knew the place like the back of my hand. I had been there like 4 or 5 times in between too. Like I would go there, take weekends.
Okay.
But I've never seen the monks since then. The 2 fathers, Pater Andreas and Pater Altmann, were their names, and I never saw them since then. And I went back. It was Christmas time. There was only 2 monks there, Andreas and Laurentius. Right, the two monks. But it wasn't Andras. It was Laurentius. So Laurentius and Altmann, they were there, and I was like, meet my kids, and they're like, oh, Stephen, like completely shocked, like, oh my Lord, you're back. Oh, your children, bless you, and they're doing all this stuff, and blessing the kids, and it was amazing, man. And my kids loved it. We were supposed to be going this weekend tomorrow, but my buddy got sick, so we can't go. And they were like, can we go back? Can we go back? Yeah.
Now that's got to be heartwarming.
It is. It was.
For them to want to go back.
Well, they felt me there.
I bet they did.
just like anybody else, my kids are everything to me. And I was standing in that church and they're looking up at me going like, Daddy, is this your home? Like they felt something, you know what I mean? Like they really felt that grounding. And I have great pictures. I'm just hugging them in the middle of the church, and and my buddy was taking pictures. It was amazing, dude. It was freaking amazing. Get tears in my eyes to say that.
Wow. When I need to like tune everything out, I turn on the Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. I took Latin in high school. I think I remember 4 words, and 2 of them are in the same word, Magnavox, the old TV brand that means great voice. So 2 of the 4 words I remember are the same word. When I'm listening to it, I have no idea what they're saying. I have no idea.
Doesn't matter
what that verbal message is, but I can tell you I receive the spiritual message.
Yeah.
When I'm listening to it.
For sure. And I'm not overly religious. Like I'm not, what they would call a Bible thumper. I mix religions, I mix spirituality, I mix, metaphysics, feelings, thoughts, what's real, what's not kind of thing. We can create our own reality with the power of God, which is all one. We're all one, and therefore we can create and that kind of stuff, right? Like I'm really into that. And I think consciously of that every single day, which drives you a little crazy sometimes because I'm always aware of the signals and the signs and the road marks and the signs and everything that happens around me. And I'm always take a second and go, what does that mean? What can that mean? Where does this come from? Why is that coming? Okay, what can this mean? Oh, I need to do this. Oh yeah, okay, I see now why that happened because now this is happening. Like I'm very conscious of this. And that's sort of like where the Humble Alpha comes in the book, Unleash Your Humble Alpha, started writing that stuff down with my co-author Lane Malone. And it just skyrocketed from there. After Berlin, homelessness, Monastery, I went back to Berlin, and for a year, I was about a half a year, I was helping people, just talking to them. Like people would pay me just to talk to me because I was, I don't know what you call it, enlightened or whatever, because I was in a monastery. I came back, I was just really, nothing shocked me, nothing surprised me, nothing was difficult, nothing was hard. I hadn't paid my rent, of course, I haven't paid anything, and paid any bills or anything. And I just called everybody, like, look, I can pay you $5 a month. Or sue me. And they're like, okay. Everybody, credit card companies, you name it, bank, everybody. It was crazy. It was so effortless because I had that light, I had that power, that complete connection to God and the universe. It was amazing. And so I got a call from from the old corporation I used to work for as a contractor. They said, hey, we got a job for you. I'm like, no way. I'm never going back to that. They said, it's in Budapest. And boom, something hit me in the chest and said, go to Budapest. So 2 days later, I was in Budapest. First time ever in Hungary.
Okay.
First time ever in Hungary. First time in the business. Walk in the front door. And I'm supposed to turn this business around in 3 months, right? Which I typically would. Walk in the front door. First person I see was a woman, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And I was like, holy shit, that's my wife. And I married her. And we were married. We're still married today, but we're separated since 5 months, which was very difficult for me. Very, very difficult for me. Still is. And, but those 13 years were glorious. It was like, I walked in, I was in sync. She saw me, I saw her. It was like a no-brainer. And, it was just like done. And so I turned the business around. They said, hey, can you stick around for 3 more months? I'm like, yeah, of course. And then, yes, yeah, of course. And then, I still had the club in Berlin that I was working with. So I would fly back on the weekends to Berlin and do the club thing. And I'd come back in the week in Budapest, and I would bring her with me sometimes. And, and then I just, and stopped doing it because they said, can you take over Switzerland? Can you take over Germany? And I was running like Hungary, Switzerland, Germany. It was just too much. I was gone 4 days a week and making a shit ton of money. Ridiculous. They actually found out later I was making more than the CEO because every country paid me separately from their accounting department. And so when they brought me in, I would always ask for this. I would always ask for the wage that was fitting to that country because Switzerland you need to earn 20K, where in Germany you can earn 6, or maybe in Hungary 6, and in Germany 10 because of the cost of living. So I was just like piling it up. All my flights and next thing you know, I'm making like more than the CEO, and they're like, "Whoa, wait a second." So we parted ways.
Nice.
So we parted ways, and I dabbled around. I did this. I opened up a lending company in Poland just because I wanted to see if I could do it, and I did. And then I left and took a payout 3 months after I proved the concept. Flew to LA, got some investors. I just goofing around, you know what I mean? And trying to just create something. And then I ended up working for, well, back in '98, I worked for Mick Jagger. So as his bodyguard for 3 weeks when he was in Berlin.
What?
Yeah. When he was in Berlin.
Oh, there's some hidden stories in there. I
can't even tell you, man. And then after that, 2009, when I came to Budapest, I ended up meeting Olivia Newton-John in Florida through a friend of mine, and we brought her business to Europe, 6 countries. Invited her to Europe. She came here. We did an event in the embassy, had all the dignitaries there, met Olivia Newton-John and her husband, launched her company. It was beautiful. And I worked for her for almost 3 years. And then after I left the corporation in 2016, I guess it was, I did the same thing for Andrea Bocelli, which is the blind tenor. You know, he's like our Pavarotti of our generation. So I worked for him for almost 2 years. No business doing what I was doing. Had no experience in the industry whatsoever. 0. But I did it. And I always did it. And that was sort of like where Humble Alpha is like, how did you do all these things, man? And I'm just like, Lane would ask me like, how'd you do that? I actually brought Lane to the Monastery as well. And we stayed there. Lane is my co-author and business partner. And he would be like, well, how did you do all that stuff? I'm like, I just walked up to him and started talking to him. And he's like, yeah, but you had to have like a mindset and this and I was like, I don't know, man. So we had to sit down and figure it out. It took like a year to actually get everything out and then piece it together. And okay. So now we have models like creating space, life enterprise, investing in relational capital, HIT, and quality of life. Those are the 5 models in the book. And that all came through that regurgitation of everything that we did in our life. And we put it into models so that people could follow it now. And the book has now become college curriculum in a course in Forbes School of Business and Technology and a couple other universities, can't remember. And wow. Yeah, it's actually now Harvard and Stanford want to pick it up.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
I'll tell you why. Because when we were writing this book, I was like, you know what I hate? I hate self-help books that don't tell you what to do after each chapter. Like I need the steps. You know what I mean? Like I need those steps.
Yes.
So every chapter has a story, a lesson, and exact action steps. And I think that's why the universities are like, wow, this is awesome. So yeah. And then, that brings us to the present day where we, we started the H.A.V.E. Well, I started with the Vetpreneur Tribe. So I took it over, and then I brought Lane in, grew it to 16,500 or 17,000 veterans. Warrior Council, which is a paid group of, we do consulting for the veterans. We did live events. We worked with the Military Influencers Conference, did an event. I spoke at 2 events, I think. I spoke at Bunker Labs and all this kind of stuff. Just really got into the veteran space, got out of the corporate space. And we started H.A.V.E, Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment. Humble Alpha is the operating system, veteran empowerment, obviously. And we started that last year in Peru.
I see what you did there.
Yes. See that?
I see what you did there.
And we started that last year in Peru, and then we go to Peru every year. And we're going actually almost exactly a month from now, we'll be in Peru again. And we work with plant medicine, ayahuasca, San Pedro combo, and we work with sometimes veterans, sometimes civilians together, and releasing the trauma and the PTSD. You basically expand your consciousness through plant medicine. And we came up with the idea for H.A.V.E. then. And then we came back and we said, I wanted to do challenge coins, right? So I wanted to sell challenge coins to raise money for nonprofits. And our advisors were like, hey, why don't you just make NFTs? And next thing you know, we're making NFTs. So we have the first digital challenge coin in the form of an NFT. And we started with the Bulldog, the Marine Bulldog, 150 variations. We launched on a blockchain that nobody knew about, but was up and coming and very aligned with us. And we launched. We did 6 figures in 3 days for the pre-sale. And that was 2 weeks ago. And the tech was just a mess. We would have done 10 times that if the tech would have worked. People couldn't buy. Like they tried everything. They couldn't buy. And so we had to change platforms. We went to Ethereum now, which is another blockchain platform. And we're reminting and all this kind of stuff. So we did the second phase 2 of the pre-sale. It just ended yesterday. Did pretty well. But it's not, I mean, I'm rambling on here. I don't know if you want to stop and take some questions or ask questions. If
no, keep going. Keep going. Well, we can start. I mean, I've got as much time as you do. So just keep going.
So what a lot of people don't understand, or because they don't understand about NFTs, they assume that it's a digital picture of some monkey in a pixelated form and it sells for $1 million. Right. So that's basically what you see on TV or on the news or whatever. Well, an NFT, if you want to put it in simple terms, an NFT is fractional ownership in a business, in a project, in a digital asset. It could be a full-on digital asset. Like, for instance, fractional real estate investment. Let's say you buy $1,000 NFT. That NFT is your proof of ownership of $1,000 of that real estate project. And the cool thing is this. I, as the owner of that NFT, can sell it, and the next person owns that $1,000 in that project. So the project owner doesn't have to do paperwork, contracts, and all that stuff. It's all done on the smart contract in the blockchain. And once it's in the blockchain, the smart contract can't be changed, can't be altered, can't be deleted. So it's ownership. It's true ownership. So no one can cheat you. And what it does is it reduces admin down to zero almost, because you set it up one time with a smart contract. Someone buys that NFT, automatically it's in their name on their wallet. As soon as they sell it, everything gets transferred to that other person because it's attached to the digital identity of that NFT. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm just
Well,
it's way outside of
think about it. It's
comprehension.
If you would invest in a company, you would get equity. If you would invest in a real estate project, you would get a piece of that project. That's an NFT, just proving that you have that piece. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah? And then you want to look at the utility and the application on the back end. Like, how can it be applied? What can you use it for? And we have like access to our events. We have access to investment pools. We have access to different kinds of giveaways, freebies. Like, we have the first Medal of Honor recipient NFT from Florent Groberg. We got him as a partner. Absolutely beautiful. The first one on the planet. It's absolutely beautiful. We actually did it. We went way overboard and did it in video form. And I don't know if I can show your viewers here, but everyone who bought our NFT, the first 500, got this one for free. That's actually his challenge coin. Made digital video.
Wow.
As an NFT. And now what happens is, buy your NFT, like you can buy a H.A.V.E. NFT, the bulldog. If you buy 5 at a time, you get a doghouse. And the doghouse is used, if you have a male and a female bulldog, to make a puppy. And a puppy you can't buy, right? You can't buy a puppy. It's worth more because you can't buy it. You have to have a male and a female bulldog and a doghouse. Otherwise, you can't buy it, right? And the Florent Groberg NFT, you can't buy either. But on the secondary market, so once you buy it, you can go to a page called OpenSea, and you can sell your NFT to somebody else. And that's the market. That's where the secondary market comes in. So the Florent Groberg NFTs are going to be sought after, and the puppies will be sought after, probably even more, because you can't buy it only on the secondary market. So you can never own one from the beginning unless you already own a part of the collection. So it's creating a way to keep your audience engaged, so you could build up momentum, so you could build out the community. Lane and I were doing veteran healing and veteran transition. We're not creating anything new. We're just consolidating what's already out there, and we want to document it all on the blockchain, so that when a veteran gets out, or a military gets out of the veteran, or the military families, or the kids, whatever it is that the nonprofits do, it'll be cascading information on the blockchain, where I can go to one central location. This is our goal. Any veteran can go to one central location and see the bulk of all nonprofits and organizations that work with and for veterans and veterans' families on the blockchain. And the way we're starting that is we're donating to 25 nonprofits from each collection. So we're starting with the Marine Bulldog, then the Air Force, then the Navy, and then Army last, since it's the biggest force. And and so that's sort of what we're doing with NFT now. There's no guarantee this is ever going to work out. There's no guarantee that everything's going to go. But we have real estate projects lined up for the fractional real estate, so you get a return on that. We have investment pools, meaning we're going to take parts of our profit and invest it in gold, silver, and whatever, and give a return and all kinds of stuff. And we have professionals to do that, of course. That they make $5,000 a day just trading. It's crazy.
Wow, that's
crazy. And Lane takes care of the healing and the nonprofits. Myself and Sarah, the other partner, we take care of the operational and the front end, like website operations and marketing and all that kind of stuff. And we're in the thick of it. And what we had to do was educate the NFT world, the crypto world, because that's only 6% of society. Of all society in the whole planet, 6% do crypto, know what the hell they're talking about, right? So we had to educate them, like, look, we're not an NFT that's just going to, because everyone went, if you have an NFT, it's got to sell out or everybody loses interest. And we're like, no, we've been doing this for 4 years, man. This is only a part of what we're doing, right? This is a funding arm for us to grow and to consolidate what's already out there to save more lives. And they're like, oh. And then you have to educate the other side, right? The other 94%, right? On what an NFT is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be me.
And then when they're excited about it, then you got to show them how to buy it, because you got to buy crypto. You got to put it in a wallet. You got to take that wallet, copy that address, send it over to us. We'll drop, it's tedious. And what's been happening until now for the NFTs, it's all that 6%. They're just eating each other. Right? They're just eating each other up 6%. Bam, bam, you buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. So it's like, dare I say, incest. It's the same people over and over and over and over and over and over doing the same thing, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. It's like pass it off. They're actually fixing the market in a way. And so we introduced a whole new community to that space. And now, I was just on the phone today with a paraplegic that's doing the same thing we are, but for paraplegics. And it's a long-term project. What I thought was fantastic. And there's another one who's doing it for the indigenous for the indigenous tribes in Canada. It's called 500 Drums. Talk to them. And they're like, yeah. So the more that people understand how powerful this is, the more of these organizations you're going to see. It's going to become very normal. If you want to help in a nonprofit or whatever, or a project, you buy an NFT. That gives them money. That gives you ownership and access to that community. It's incredible. It's incredible. And
that's an amazing concept to, to provide, as you said, the ownership in something more than just, a piece of paper certificate that says, I bought this, and in our world, the veteran world, law enforcement world, first responder, challenge coins are, something highly sought after. We have displays just for them, I think it's awesome.
I got this one from Dr. Tahiri. Peace after combat.
That's
Beautiful,
cool.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I was in the Air Force, but unfortunately, my service didn't lead me to, interact and go a lot of places. I only did 4 years. So my challenge coin collection is like 4 coins.
Challenge coins everywhere, man.
But I have one in my pocket. It's part of my EDC.
Yep. I got one in my wallet all the time. Yeah. And so
I'm going to go ahead.
We wanted to bring that tradition to the digital space to be the first ones.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And people love it. We just had a call with VetCoin yesterday. VetCoin is a token. It's for veterans. And they have built the Vetaverse, not the metaverse, but the Vetaverse. They have real estate on the metaverse that's just for veterans. Right now, it looks like a military base, but they're going to build it out. They're going to have monuments and reenactments and all kinds of stuff in there that you can go in and join on the metaverse.
That's just until you just said that, I had no idea that existed.
Oh,
so
for all you wear these glasses, and you can it's like you're there, and you can interact. Like you and I could, hey, let's meet in the cantina, in the German part of the metaverse. We go to the German part, and everybody's wearing lederhosen and whatever you want to do. You buy a skin and wear the skin, whatever you want to do, and then we sit there and bullshit.
Is that somewhat like Second Self from years and years ago? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can use NFTs.
Maybe we'll
use NFTs to buy things, and like you can go in there and buy Nikes, and they'll ship them to your house for real. It's crazy.
I feel like there needs to be a whole entirely different conversation with me and you in Budapest, so that I can.
There you go. There you go. I think that's important.
You think that's important?
You can drive over here in Ukraine and take a look. Help some.
You know what? I think I would just do this.
Well, it's not far. It's not far away. It's not far away.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife is German. Her mother is first generation over. So before COVID, we would go to Germany. Been a couple times every third year or so. Down to Bavaria.
Where?
And outside of Bamberg.
Schweinfurt or
Schweinfurt or someone? H.A.V.E. H.A.V.E. is the village.
It's stationed in Schweinfurt, which is down there by Bamberg. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful country. Yeah. Beautiful. And the beer is great.
They have the Einheitsgebot, which is the purity law.
Yes.
They have to make a beer a certain way. They can't put additives or preservatives or none of that stuff. Yeah. And
they're using the same. This one beer, Schrenkela.
There's
it's a smoke beer. Yeah. It's it tastes like liquid smoked bacon. It's so thick you could probably chew it. But it's an amazing beer. And it's made by monks. They're in it's either Bamberg or Nuremberg. I think
they're everywhere.
But they're using the same strand since the 1400s.
The hops.
It's amazing. Yes, in the yeast. Anyway, so I'm going to apologize about if this is flickering for y'all when you're watching this on YouTube. I'm sorry. This is my second time using Riverside. I switched away from StreamYard. This Riverside had better promises for the future. We're still in the beta form, so I apologize for this tech not working great.
Mine's fine. See that?
Yours is fine, and you're in Hungary.
Third world country. What you want to say? Yeah.
I want to say a foreign country. Way hours and hours and hours away, and I'm just right outside of home base here in the States, and I'm flickering. Attention, veteran business owners. Do you want an easy way to be certified as a veteran-owned business? Do you want a better way to show it off in the same hard-charging fashion as our old unit patches? Do you want an easier way to be found and get business write-ups, more interviews, social media promotion, and more? avboa.net has your six. Get access to over 20 hard-charging digital badges for web and social media shares that shows you are a certified veteran-owned business. You've earned it. Show it off. Visit avboa.net today and use code KNOCK6, that's KNOCKSIX. Get your digital badge today. Let's go back to your Marine days. What did you do? Army. What did you do in the Army?
Let's start when I went to boot camp.
Okay, that's a good place to start.
So I was in high school, second biggest guy in high school. I had a twin brother; he was big.
Okay.
Okay. And I tried to play baseball, football, softball, basketball, wrestling, and I screwed up more than you can imagine. Like I was a guy who would lose a game. Like, don't put Kuhn in, right? So I loathed myself. I hated myself. I was like, Jesus, man, I'm not going to be such a loser. People didn't see me like that necessarily, but I felt like they did. And I was like, I never fit in one crowd. So in the school in the morning, you go to the lobby, and they have all the cheerleaders, the jocks, the band, like the heads and all these people. I would just bounce from group to group, and I could get along with everybody, but I wasn't anybody's friend. It was like sort of like that. Mm. So when I joined the Army to get the hell out of there, I went to boot camp, and when they put the razor to my head, I sat there in the mirror, and I'll never forget it. I was like, this is the new me. Like, from now on, none of that shit, none of that self-loathing, none of that weakness, none of that self-belief, none of that stuff. But obviously, that was short-lived because you go to boot camp, you almost die.
Yes.
Yeah. And we got to the obstacle course a couple months later, 2 or 3 months later, or 2 months later, because I was in OSIT, one station unit training, which is 5 months straight, right? Boot camp and AIT together, but it's almost like boot camp for 5 months. Okay. And we're in an obstacle course. And I come up to the wall that's leaning towards you, like 15 degrees, and there's no rope, like you see on TV. And I'm looking at this thing 7 feet high. I'm going, how the hell am I supposed to get over this? Like, how am I supposed to get over this? Everybody else is hopping over it. I couldn't get over it to save my life. Like, I couldn't get over this wall. And I was like, dang, man, what the hell's going on? And the drill sergeant takes me, throws me down on the ground, puts his foot in the back of my neck, and just starts railing me. And I just broke out in tears and got so upset. I literally jumped up, grabbed the wall, and flipped right over it with zero effort. I landed on the other side. I was like, whoa, like angels came. I was like, what just happened? Like, I was carried over that wall, bro. And so I ran around, like right around the wall. I didn't go around the whole course. I ran around the wall and did it again. I was like, oh, what? And from that point on, I knew I could do whatever I wanted to do. I knew it was only me. It was only me the whole time that was holding me back. And I knew that. And so that changed my life forever, that moment, So I went in the Army. I was a tanker, 19 kilo, they call it. So I was on the Abrams, and which is a thing in itself. And I was stationed in the cavalry. I was stationed in armored units and on the border to East and West Germany back in the day when the wall was still up. So I was there in the Cold War. And then when the wall came down, we started meeting the Eastern European women because they could come over to the West. And it was a really interesting time because it was a whole different culture. And we were like heroes. Yeah. We were like the American GIs, heroes. It was crazy. It was like you were a superstar. It was incredible. And, we were too young to deal with it. We just acted like idiots. And, young, dumb, and the rest, right?
Yes. Yep.
And, yep. And when that all was sort of boiling down, then Iraq came and they sent us to Iraq. Now, what people forget about Desert Storm, like, it was 100 days, whatever, right? What they forget was this was the first battle since Vietnam, right? A war, big war with armor and all that kind of stuff. And they were expecting 100,000 casualties on our side. And guess who was right in the front? Us. Task Force. Yeah. Right? Yeah. McMasters with 2 ACR was right in front of us. They peeled off and we pulled in beside them like that. And that's when we fought the Battle of 73 Easting, which is the largest tank battle since the Second World War. It's very famous. It had video games made after it, puzzles, and you name it, art. Yeah. And that's where everything changed. I was awake for 2 days, 3 days out of 4 days. I don't even remember. But it was like I was floating. I wasn't even present anymore in my body. I was just out of my body. And we battled, we fought, and, it was like 45 hours, I guess. We sat there and however long it was in that, what they call a wadi, dried out riverbed, really wide, in the Battle of 73 Easting. And when it was over, we did a passage of lines, which means we stand still because we were out of fuel and ammunition, and a fresh battalion or company goes through us, right, and takes on. But by then we had a ceasefire. So it was okay. And then you comb the battlefield, right? So you go through the battlefield, you go through the objective with your tanks and walking and stuff. And man, what we saw there, no one should see, and it was a massacre, dude. It was a freaking massacre. And you saw not only the damage that we did, but the damage that they did to the people who tried to run, right?
Yeah, I heard stories of that.
Like heads just in ditches. And then there was Death Highway, which is where the Iraqis were trying to leave Kuwait to go into Iraq, and our Air Force just took them out. That was carnage like I'd never seen in my life. You smelled, there was smoke. And then, of course, the oil well fires, right, that they lit all the oil wells on fire. Right. And we would get up in the morning and our noses and our lips would be all covered in oil from breathing it in, right? Because it was just spraying in the air constantly. They couldn't put them out. Some of them were spraying in the air. They weren't even on fire. They were just spraying in the air. And it was like raining oil. Mm-hmm. And we stayed there. So we were at a checkpoint, Highway 8, outside of Basra. Now, what a lot of people don't remember is that President Bush Sr. said if the Shiites form an uprising against Saddam, who were the Sunnis, the Sunnitan, the Muslims, that we would support them. We were right there outside of Basra. And so they said, okay, so they did an uprising and we were told to stand down. So we literally had to watch people die and just watch. Mm. And we were at the checkpoint. We were 200 kilometers in Iraq, a buffer zone around Kuwait. We were on the checkpoint and they would have trucks of women and children coming out of our buffer zone into Iraq with like an Iraqi driver or whatever. And I'm like, stop. Where are you guys going? Oh, our husband's over there. I'm like, don't go over there. You know, you guys are Shiites. You're going to get killed. And they're like, oh, crazy Americans. They go over there. And sure enough, you know, it was horrible, dude.
They don't come back.
Yeah. It was horrible, man. It was so freaking horrible. But what do? You push it down, drive away. So one day I'm sitting, you drive on. And one day I'm standing there and I see this pink dot down the, desert. And I'm like, what is that? And it's a little girl with her arms out to her sides, walking with a grown up, like she was playing airplane, right? But as she got closer, I saw that she was burnt from her neck down and her clothes were burnt into her skin. And they had put this pink dress on top of her to cover her. And they were coming to us for help. Now, we could help medical, but we couldn't help in food. We couldn't help with water. We couldn't do nothing, right? Weren't supposed to.
Right.
And so this little girl comes and I was like, oh my God. Okay, go to the medics. We had a medic track there. So they went to the medics. She came out bandaged and patched up and everything. And I said, come here. And I had butterscotch candies in my grenade pockets from my aunt who would send them to me. And I said,
right. Care packages were great.
Yes. And I got down on my knee. I got down on my one knee and handed her this piece of candy. And she freaking smiled, dude. Like it was the most amazing thing in her life. And I sat there and took all of my strength not to grab her and just run away with her and go to America or something. You know what I mean? Like save her. Because I thought, God, she's like the symbol of happiness right now. And it was like, how can she lose everything, be burned from head to toe, and smile for a piece of candy? Like joy. It blew me away, man. And I sat there and I just looked at her. And I wanted to like give her hope that there's compassion. Or it was like I was saying, there's love. Even in the middle of war, there's love. It just felt so amazing with this little girl, perfectly white teeth. She smiled. She was beautiful. Maybe it's because I was out in the desert and I was a little, heat stroke, whatever. But she was this beautiful 8-year-old girl, just amazing. And that sort of changed me forever there. And I was like, I'm done with this, man. I'm not doing this anymore. Mm. And from then on, it was a struggle to stay in the military, but I stayed in. And I look for her to this day. Like anytime, because anytime I meet an Iraqi female, I always count the years. How old are you? 42. Okay. Where are you from in Iraq? I actually met a woman. Where are you from in Iraq? She's like, Basra. I was like, oh, when were you there? She goes, during the Gulf War. And then we left in 93 to come to America, to go to America. And I was like, okay, don't stop asking, Stephen, because this is her. Don't ask any more questions. This has got to be, you know what I mean? Like I wanted it so bad to be her that I didn't want to ask any more questions. But I asked and she said, oh, no. I wasn't involved in anything like that. And I was like, damn it. It's like, I want to find this girl. You know what I mean? And then what happens, and this is crazy, and you don't think about these things. That was 1990 and 1991, 32 years ago. 32 years ago. And I'm sitting here 2 weeks ago, the Ukrainian war breaks out, right? Ukraine, Russia, or battles, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a war. It's more like a conflict. And I get this, like, I'm pretty good, pretty positive guy. And I feel this like negative vibration, like every day when I get up and I'm driving through the city, I'm like, I just feel like Like, what is it? And so I meditated and I prayed and I'm trying to figure it out. And it turns out that the winds of war next to me were triggering my PTSD. And then when I dug into it with my therapist, I felt like I had to, first of all, I felt vulnerable because I didn't have a uniform, a weapon. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a war, you're next to it can happen.
Right.
You're a civilian, you got to watch out for your kids and your wife. And even if they do come, what are you going to do? Hide in your living room? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Yeah. So that made me vulnerable and it made me mad. This is all undertone, of course, vulnerable and mad. So it made me want to go to Iraq or go to Ukraine and save that little girl. Dude, that freaked me out. I was like, God, how can that be still so present in my life? Like, I wanted to get to her before she got burned. Like, I was trying to do it in proxy in Ukraine to repair what I couldn't do in Iraq. And I'm thinking, that was 32 years ago, and that's still on me like that? So when people talk about mental health, I got big heart for that. That's why we do H.A.V.E. We give into those nonprofits. We help them with mental health. We help them with the depression. That's why we do the retreats to Peru, because of things like that. I mean, look, when I got out of the military and I moved to Berlin, the first thing I did was before I opened the bars, I was a doorman. What else are you going to do, right? You're a tanker, right? 6'4", 240 tanker. What are you going to do, right? So I was a bartender. I mean, a bouncer. And man, every night, 2 or 3 fights, every single night for like a year. It was like every single night. When I was off, I would get in a fight with civilians or whatever, other people. Like, you just looked at me like,
right.
What?
Yeah.
Like, I was walking like this. What? It's a PTSD flaming hard. And then I had like this crash in 94 where I left my body for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I couldn't come back. Wherever I walked, I was up here watching from above, and everything was an echo. My girlfriend, future ex-wife, was looking at me going, "Where are you? What is wrong? You're empty. What?" And I was like up here looking down on it for like 2 weeks, man. It was crazy, and I thought I was going crazy. And one day I woke up and it was back, and I was like, whew, like, I had some shit happen to me in my life, man. And
you have had a full life.
Well, and I haven't even told you everything. And I'm not saying that I'm not special. I'm not overly intelligent. I'm not overly talented. But what I am is someone who believes that I can do whatever I want to do as long as it's not hurting anybody. And I just go and do it. Did I create an empire, millions and millions of dollars? No, I didn't. But I have billions of dollars in experience and fulfillment. You know what I mean? And I'm not making an excuse. So any of the entrepreneurs out there will say, poor people always say that. Well, I'm not poor, right? But I'm telling you, I know what it's like to make, $50K a day to consult a company or to go turn something around. I know what it's like. I've done it. I went to Turkey for one day, 40K, and it's like, that was when I was the fattest, out of shapest, unhappiest, because all you do is work. And your focus goes from enjoying the world that you live in to running after that one thing, and that's more revenue, more money. And I don't care what people say. I know you're always going to have that battle. The only people who say that are the people that aren't rich, right? Saying what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have both. That's what we call quality of life. Quality of life is enjoying the moment, no matter what the task. And so that's what we call everything. If you ever watch one of my daily purge videos that I do every day, I'm on episode 803. I do it every day live. At the end, I go, it's all about quality of life. Like I'm always doing that at the end of it. So it just became the strap line. And then we added it to the book as it's all about quality of life. That's the one equalizer on this planet. Everybody wants that one thing. Everybody, no matter what country you live in, religion, whatever, everybody wants quality of life. Right? So that's like the equalizer for us. Man, I could go on and on and on and on. It's just really cool to be able to flow like this. It's like really cool because it's just like it's coming out organically. But what it's showing me now is like as I'm doing this, when I show up for a call or a video or a meeting or I'm buying a company or whatever, I create space. That's in the book. Creating space is showing up wholly and fully for that person in front of you with no preconceived notions or cookie cutter solutions or expectation of a specific outcome. You can focus on the only thing that you can control, and that's the intention of adding value by solving problems. Basically, that's how I approach everything. And when you do that, we end up co-creating a conversation that never happened before. So I'm not regurgitating things that I've said before. I'm not regurgitating things like Strava. Pieces of it, yes, the book. But what I'm telling you is the first time I'm telling you in this form. I'm telling anybody in this form. That's why creating space is so beautiful. Because when you can create space with your business partners, with your wife and your husband and your kids and all those around you, you're co-creating something new instead of basing it on memories from the past. We have 5 minds. This is my belief. We have the conscious mind, subconscious mind. We have the inner child, right? That's you at 6 years old. You have your parents when you were 6 years old, and you have your ego mind, right? Well, the ego mind is responsible for chaos. The parenting mind at 6 years old is responsible for judgment. They judge you. And then, of course, your inner child, the only emotion they have is fear, right? Your subconscious feeds your conscious mind. Who feeds the subconscious? Those 3 minds: the ego, the parents, and the inner child. Fear, judgment, and chaos feeds your subconscious, which feeds your conscious mind, which is the only mind that can actually make a decision. And that's why people get caught in this loop of not moving forward in their life, because they're basing everything on those 3 parts of the mind that feed the subconscious, feed the conscious. So like the judgment from your parents, you can't do that. You're not good enough for that. You can't, or maybe you were, but now you're too old, or, be safe and don't do that because we love you, and don't grow because it's change and change bad. And, and then your ego's like, well, I'm going to do this anyway. And then your inner child's like, I'm scared. It's like, and you're just holding back. Yeah. You're holding back.
Excuse me.
And so if you become the leader of your mind, you can change all that. And the leader of your mind means visiting with those 3 minds in meditation, in prayer, talking to your inner child, talking to your parents when you're 6 years old, talking to your ego. The ego we call Freddy Krueger, so you could have a picture, right? So you have someone to look at, right? Freddy Krueger.
Okay.
And as part of my meditation, and I got to tell you, that clears the mind. It makes you look forward and create something new instead of basing it on the past. And that's why when you create space like we do, we have a conversation like this that never happened before. You have deals that never happened before. You come up with solutions and answers that neither one of us would have come up with on our own. And, it's a beautiful thing to live like that. It really is.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I created this avenue or path or whatever. The conversation is, several reasons. One, so our stories don't die, because, I'm a big Les Brown fan in his motivation speaking. And one time he said that the graveyard is the richest place on the planet because there are inventions that never made it. There were books that were never written. There were ideas never shared, so on and so forth. They're all in the grave. So I wanted to be able to create a space where people of our profession, law enforcement, military, first responders, could share their stories so those stories don't ever die. Like they're here now. And to allow free-flowing conversation, as you also pointed out, so that it could be an avenue for something they never thought of, or it's been years since they thought of it, and it brings some kind of joy back to them. Because both these professions, the law enforcement and the military and they're very dark professions. Like as you mentioned, you saw things on Death Highway that people shouldn't see. You saw things on the battlefield. I was not a combat veteran, but in my 15 years in law enforcement, I've seen my fair share of the darkness, the evil, and the shadows. And we need a reason to put that uniform back on. We need a reason to remember we can laugh and have a good time and enjoy work. Otherwise, we'll implode. Right? All of, because we can't necessarily share some of our stories with our spouses or our significant others or our friends or our family. Certainly not our parents, because they wouldn't understand. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. As I mentioned to you in the pre-conversation before we hit the record button, this is just a show where we chase rabbits wherever they go. There's no structure to it. I like to try to get funny stories into the conversation, but damn it, this is my show. So we don't have to tell funny stories. We can tell real life stories. And that's why I was so happy when you reached out to come on the show. Because I wanted to learn more about H.A.V.E. I also wanted to learn more about the Humble Alpha and your story. And I know there are layers to this onion called that we didn't even get to. The nightclub days, the days on
titanium cheekbone. I got broken nose twice. I got broken ribs, elbow, wrist from the club days, from the mafia, like forcing me to pay him money. And I kept saying no, because I'm a veteran and I'm a tough guy, but that doesn't work very long.
See, I mean, I feel like that's a whole nother show. We could dedicate just 1987 or, 1994,
Well, that was almost a movie. Actually, it was a movie script. And then they found out we were writing it, or this guy was writing it. A pretty famous guy in Germany was writing it for a Hollywood film. And the people to be in charge, I guess you could say, in Berlin shut that down. Because it was too, look, in those 8 years that I was in the club scene, I witnessed murders, I witnessed prostitution, pimps like taking down their women, you name it. Like, I experienced it all, including getting my own ass beat by my own doormen, the mafia guys, right? Or the henchmen of the mafia, basically. And the wars between, I don't want to say their names, but the two warring mafias. One of them were of Arab descent, one of them were of German descent, and it was always, they had parts of the town that you could, just like any other town. And out there, when you have a club or something that's successful, they're going to come. Simple as that.
They're going to want a part of it. Yeah.
Yep. And I was like, you ain't getting part of this. I don't need to pay you. And I kept messing with them. They're like, oh, we should work together. And I'm like, sure. Here's an application. Fill it out. Like I was trying to play stupid. Like I'm just gonna act stupid, like I'm American. I got it. Like, like, well, we don't think you understand. We want to work together. I'm like, yeah, you have to fill out an application. And they're looking at each other.
You're killing me,
idiot. Like, is he really that stupid? I'm just going, hey, all right, man, we'll see you later. Send it to me. I was like, shit, these guys are gonna kill me. And I'm like calling friends and like, Steve, don't mess with them. Well, that wasn't enough. I had to get my ass beat. Literally separated retina, titanium cheekbone. I mean, you name it. It's crazy. To this day, I got that black floater in there now because of that. And they separated my retina when they kicked me in the eye with a steel-toe boot. Yeah.
Oh God, that doesn't feel. It sounded like
I was blind for like a day and a half. I thought my sight was never going to come back. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
That's just like one little piece of the stuff.
I want more.
I was in Berlin. I had cocktail bars. What did I do? I went to the embassy and invited everybody over. So I got to be friends with the whole Marine security guard detachment. Right. This is before 9/11. So it was open base and everything. You could walk on and up. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I had the RSOs, regional security officers. Right. I had the Marine gunny. I had the diplomats all coming to my bar. And then, of course, all the German police were there because they wanted to meet them. Then I had like the German SWAT team, the German mobile SWAT team, the Marines, and it was like this big, like, my bar was one of them, was just filled with military and police and everything else. And one time we're at the bar. It's a little bar. It's got like 40 seats in it. And it was very, very nice. And this guy walks in and is like, "All right, give me all your money." Like. Some guy walks in the front door and everybody looks at him and just like opens their coats and everybody had a weapon. And the guy's like,
never mind. I was just kidding.
Yeah. No one even chased them. They're just like, I'm joking. And that became my saving grace years later because I knew all the cops. And whenever there was an altercation, I would still get into fights occasionally, up until 2009, 10. And even after the embassy or the monastery, I had a few fights, because I was trying to be passive, trying to be nice, and they just clocked you right in the nose and blood everywhere, and then you just sort of lose it, right?
Yeah.
And
getting hit in the nose is a button you can't, when they push that button,
it's like, yeah. So
yeah.
And so there's
muscle memory kicks in.
Oh yeah, Jesus. And I'll never forget though, my last fight that I remember. I had one like 3 years ago. It wasn't a fight really. It was more like defending myself. But that guy who punched me in the nose, I grabbed him by the neck and I got him in a headlock and I started punching him. And I realized I had no anger in me. I was like, whoa, this is, so I let him go. I'm like, shit, man, and then the other bouncer came and beat the crap out of him. But I was like, oh, wow, this is a trip. Like, I'm not mad. I was like, almost like, oh, this is cool. I think I got rid of it all. Like in the middle of a fight, and so I just stopped. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm very aware of what goes on in my life. My body feels this, that, thoughts, boom, boom. I'm a little crazy maybe, because I'm hyper aware of my world and the world around me. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt sometimes. Sometimes I'd like to be like, just take some time off and relax and watch TV, but I don't watch TV. I don't like distractions. I don't like sports, being distracted. I like doing stuff with people, real stuff.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I listen to audiobooks every day. I meditate every day. And
you're an avid listener to the Knock&Talk show. I know that for a fact.
Show, man. Yeah. I cut out the speed dial, bro. Yeah.
Well, let's get back to H.A.V.E. Because that's an important mission. Okay. I feel like.
So let me explain how. Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment. Humble Alpha is an operating system based on those 5 core models that will allow you to build a foundation of knowing what your operating system is. Once you know your operating system, you can build upon that, articulating it very clearly for anything that you do. Meaning you're going to have a head start in everything you do because you already have a foundation in anything that you do. Because it's your operating system, just like on your laptop. You can get upgrades and downgrades and whatever, updates and all that kind of stuff. But the operating system stays the same. You might not know how it works, but you can explain it. Computer works like this. There's a processor. That's all you need to know. And we teach you that in that book, how to extract your own so you have a foundation to build upon. Now that we call a Humble Alpha operating system. Now, operating system we brought into the veteran space. We introduced this way of thinking. There's HIT, like I said, HIT, creating space, life enterprise, investing in relational capital, and quality of life. HIT is honesty, integrity, and transparency, something I've been teaching for probably 15, 20 years. Stands for honesty, integrity, and transparency. Honesty with yourself while you do, say, and think what you do. The transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and it's your ongoing reputation. Byproduct of that is integrity, right? Integrity is doing what you say you're going to do, not doing what you say you're not going to do, and if you screw up, apologize and make it better. That's as simple as that. That's integrity, right? And so when you live like that, and you're honest with yourself first, because that's all you need. When you're honest with yourself, you'll never be dishonest with anybody else, because you come first as far as honesty goes. And then when you step into the world with that pure honesty like that, and you communicate vulnerably and openly and clearly, like I do, like I'm telling everything, then that creates trust and integrity and authenticity. And the authenticity part comes really when you know who you are. And that's the identity piece we have in the first chapter. You find out who you are. You come down to a 2-word moniker, what your true power is as you as an identity at this time in your life. And we brought that into the veteran world. We brought that into the healing space. Lane and I. Lane's more on the holistic side. I'm more on the sort of business mindset side. And so we make a great team.
How does somebody get started, and how much money for a minimum investment would somebody need to bring?
For the H.A.V.E. NFT. For the H.A.V.E. NFT, it's right now it's still in the pre-sale, so it's $400 for one NFT. That you have to buy it in crypto. You open a MetaMask wallet, and then you go to our website, HAVENFT.io. Buy, it'll take you through. We have videos and stuff. So pretty easy. Now it's easy. It wasn't before, but now it's easy. And then they can, once we mint, we're minting it between the 6th and the 8th. Anyone who buys now gets that Florent Groberg Medal of Honor recipient NFT video, which doesn't exist anywhere else. And you can't buy it. And then once we mint, you can go to OpenSea and sell it if you want to sell it. It automatically increases value of $100 when we go to the public sale. So because we're selling for $400, when we go public, we're going to sell it for $500. Okay? So that's how you increase the value of it immediately. So you got a 25% increase in a couple of days. And anyone who does any investments, 25% is not bad. A couple of days, right? Then you can turn around and sell it if someone wants to buy it. There's always in the beginning of a collection, it's hard to sell everything because everyone wants to sell at the same time, but it takes some time, then it builds up. I have NFTs from other companies too. I have offers all the time to buy my NFTs. I'm just not selling them. My own personal ones that I've collected over the couple months that I've gotten into this. And so it's again, then you have access to us. You're on a mailing list. You get updates, and we tell you what's going on. We're still in the incubation phase of building this out into the blockchain, like I said before, with the veteran healing and the transition. That's going to take a lot of time, but it also takes money. And because we're donating to nonprofits at the same time, and we're putting licensing fees aside in case someone comes after us. Then it's people think it's easy to make an NFT. It's not. It's so freaking expensive. You have fees for the design. You get fees for the coding. You get fees for the smart contracts. You got to build the website. You got to put the tech in. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of freaking work. But we nailed it now. So we can literally take anybody who wants to launch an NFT. They can do it on our platform under H.A.V.E. if they're a veteran or first responder or whatever. We have a built community. Our Discord channel. Discord is an app that you use. It's like a.
I'm in that, by the way.
Discord channel. And we can start building our community with other communities who want to come in and say, look, I don't have a community, but I have this NFT. And we'll say, okay, if you want to make it into a challenge coin, we can help you do that. And we'll launch it in our community. You bring your community in, we build this together. It's a co-creation, like I was saying before. And so we actually know how we can go out, set up your website, get your designs done, get them all coded, get the smart contracts done, put them on our platform and start selling. Like we can do that now because we went through it all.
Nice.
We went through it all. And we can become like an NFT factory for the military first responder space. We'd love that.
That would be amazing. So what's that website again to get started?
HAVENFT.io. H.A.V.E. NFT.io.
Okay.
You'll see the team. You'll see history, the roadmap, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
And you get started for the low of just $400.
$400.
$400. All right.
And it's a digital asset that gives you ownership in the organization and in the community. But it also, once we sell out this collection, I think we got like 680 to sell, and then we're done. Invest portions of that profit into staking pools of different, like I said, silver, gold, crypto, or whatever, where the best return is, and we're going to give portions of that back, profit share back to the NFT holder. So if you have an NFT, $400 today, on the 15th of April, it's going to go to $500. So you made $100 there.
Okay.
And then if depending on where we invest and when we invest, you can have a return every quarter or once a year, and then you'll have your money back. Like, I can't guarantee anything. I can't offer financial advice in laws.
Sure.
But right now, crypto isn't regulated at all. So that's why we're very transparent. We're all doxed. Everyone knows who we are. Everyone knows where to find us. We're not going to like pull the rug out or anything. We're here. We're loud. I was on international TV talking about it. You know what I mean? Like if I screw up, I'm really an idiot. So we just ask for the support, and we know it's going to take longer than the crypto world expects it to. And we know we have to educate the non-crypto world to realize what we're doing. But to put it clearly, we want to consolidate everything that's already out there as far as nonprofits, healing, and veteran transition and trauma, and put it into one central location database where everyone can access it all. It's on a blockchain. It's solid. It's there forever. And that doesn't exist because right now, think about it. 22 veterans kill themselves every day for the last 20 freaking years. It never ends. And it's not reducing, even though we have 50, 100 times more nonprofits than we did 20 years ago. Still no change. Why? Fragmentation and competition, right? everyone wants to have their NGO, their nonprofit, be the number one. So they're pushing really hard. Very little collaboration. We just want to bring in, hey guys, let's work together. You guys are doing this. You guys are doing this. What do you think? We're going to help you out with some profit share. Let's do this. And that's our long-term mission. Very small team. We would have to bring a lot of people on. We're growing slowly. None of us has taken any money this last 4 years from this project. So we all have our own stuff on the side. Like Lane and I have the Humble Alpha Advisory Program. It's advisory. We've worked with the special assistant to the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, for 3 months. Brought her up to par in her unleashed her Humble Alpha. Working with someone who owns a financial services company. We've worked with groups of real estate investors, and we help them in a 3-month, 12-session advisory program. Straighten their head, release any kind of baggage, get focused on what it is that they need to achieve, and live the best quality of life they can imagine. And it's quite successful. So that
now is that book, Unleash Your Humble Alpha, is that available on Amazon
and Audible?
Because that's where everybody
Amazon
goes.
And Audible.
Okay.
Yes. Please read it. If you buy the book, take a picture, post it, and tag us. We have collages of people that do that. We have collages, hundreds and hundreds of people do that. So it just became a thing. So we post it in the background. Sometimes it's all the pictures of people holding the book up. Pretty cool.
And one last question. How long is the flight from ATL to Budapest?
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Atlanta, Budapest, you can't fly direct. So it'd be Atlanta, Paris, or Atlanta, Frankfurt, or Atlanta, London. And it would probably be 6 to 7 hours over, and then another 2.5 hours or 2 hours. So 8 or 9 hours. It's not too bad. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like a long weekend one time.
I've done it.
I might get crazy.
I've done it. I just booked flights for Peru going through Houston. So I'm going to Houston, stopping there for 4 days, getting treatments. There's a specialist down there, and then I'm going to go to Peru. And on the way back, I leave on the 15th of May, and I get home on the 17th. I was what? Yeah.
Wow. Well, you're also flying into the future.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But still, it's come on. I've never had a 3-day journey like that. And it's 5 stops or 4 stops or something. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's still, I only like to fly a certain way as far as comfort goes because I'm big, so it's expensive,
It sure beats flying in a C5.
That is true.
Or a 140 or a 141.
Yeah. C-130 rolling down the strip. Yeah, remember that? Airborne tanker going trip. Yeah.
Well, Stephen, do you have anything else for us, the listeners?
Man, I got so much, but I think it's time. It's time. This time we bid adieu. But I think
adieu.
I just wanted to pay homage to Sergeant Young M. Dillon. He was a artillery sergeant who fell in Desert Storm when I was with him. And he's just a guy who was posthumously awarded the Silver Star, and just a stand-up kind of guy. And he died in front of me during the war. So basically in my arms. It wasn't
the Sergeant Dillon.
Sergeant Dillon, brother. Cool. Yes, anyone who speaks German can grab my first book about the military called Soldat im Golfkrieg. Soldier in the Gulf War. Do I have it here? I thought I had it. But I guess not. But it has a picture of me on the cover in my uniform. I don't know where it is. Anyway, in my Desert Storm uniform. So it was
And the chocolate chips?
Yeah. Actually, no, I had the mop gear on. I had the mop gear on over top of it.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, we didn't get the chocolate chips until we left because we had to look good when we landed.
We
had the BDUs, the winter battle dress uniform, the winter black boots. You know how hot that was?
Yeah.
We had Nomaxes too. The flight suits because tankers were flight suits.
Right.
And they were sandblasted. You couldn't because they would wear out in minutes because of the sand. It just eats them away. So anyway, long story. My brother.
For another time, for the next episode.
Lord, people are like, oh my God, I'm just getting a shot.
Well, I know it's probably super late in the day there for you. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your stories with us. The pleasure was mine. And you ever want to come back? You ever want to do another show? We'll get you on.
We can strategize before which year we want to talk about.
There we go.
I'm not going to lie to you. This book was written like this in interview form. We took the transcripts, got an author or an editor to make it into a book. We edited it, and it was done.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start a book. That's what we're going to do. Stephen, thank you again for coming on the show, folks. This was the 22nd episode of the Knock&Talk show, and I look forward to the next one with you guys. And please jump over to HAVENFT.io and learn more about how you can get involved in this amazing veteran space. Until then, everybody stay safe, be well, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
The Knock&Talk Show is a certified veteran-hosted podcast. Show your support, tune in, share, and subscribe.